Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Krysan, TK joining us from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in the heart of Baton Rouge, right there off the airline near Parkview Baptist and Segan. Ronnie Rance here in an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and the LeBears Casino is the title sponsor and presenting sponsors. They always are for everything sports shorts. Go check out all the action. Great place to, Thursday night NFL football. Go have some dinner over there. Watch the games inside the Barstool Sportsbook, which will be renamed shortly. It'll be a new name coming soon.
Any idea when that might be?
I was over in Lake Charles a couple of days ago at LeBears Lake Charles, and they were hinting around this. We're doing an event there. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame's doing a golf tournament, a celebrity golf tournament on November the 14th. And we have an event inside the now Barstool Sportsbook on November the 13th at night. And they were saying they think it might be in change by then. So, that's a month and a half from now. So it could be sooner than you and I maybe think. So we'll keep you posted. I'm curious to see. It'll be ESPN Bet will be the name of it. And I'm just curious to see, how they make it look. And, the Barstool Sportsbook in Baton Rouge, if you haven't, for folks that haven't been, is absolutely gorgeous. They spent tons of money building out the restaurant side, the sportsbook side, the bar side. And, to me, all they got to do is basically take off anything that says Barstool and put ESPN on it. But I'm curious to see what they do. I'm sure there'll be some sort of remodel just slightly. All right, TK. So today here on the Hump Day edition, a couple of things to talk about. Reaction from you on Brian Kelly's press conference, where understandably he was not in a good mood on Monday. Obviously, Monday Night Football we can talk about. Seahawks just absolutely thumped the Giants. For Saints fans, you should feel good about yourself. The Giants are worse than you are, and I know you're in shock that LSU is a 7-point favorite over Missouri this Saturday.
I really am. I watched Brian Kelly's press conference the other day, and this is my interpretation. He can't believe the way the defense is performing. I don't think he expected it. I'm not saying he thought they were going to shut everybody out, but I think he is, baffled by the fact that the 300-plus yards after contact and the 706 yards. I think he's just like scratching his head like, I didn't see this coming. So now we're going to find out what changes will they make. What can they do against Missouri? Missouri's 5-0. They got a pretty decent win against a Kansas State team that's not bad. Other than that, it is what it is. But Missouri's quarterback, it's got a high quarterback rating. He's thrown 11 or 12 touchdowns. It's not thrown an interception. And they got a good running back. And they're going to be at home. It's going to be 11 o'clock. They don't mind 11 o'clock games at Missouri. They like all the attention. And, LSU, man, I don't know, man. I just can't get a feel for this game. But I can't imagine laying now 7 points, depending on where you shop. At the Barstool Sportsbook, wherever you're going to be, laying 7 points on the road to Missouri on Saturday morning after what we've seen, not just last week, but the last 2 weeks. 1,300 yards of offense, 86 points that they have allowed. That doesn't make me think that they can, keep Missouri under 20 and maybe keep them at 390 yards or 410 total offense. But man, that's a head scratcher. But the wise guys are pretty sharp. They're pretty good. We'll have to see. I think there we go.
Well, TK, I'll tell you a couple of things. One, Missouri's offense is at the moment statistically through 5 games is top 10 in the country. LSU's defense through five games, whatever is 104th, I think, or something like that. So you would expect that Missouri's going to have success moving the football, whether they were ranked top 10 or not. You would expect they would have success moving the football. So you feel like they're going to get theirs, like everybody does against LSU. It's just going to be it should be a fun game, actually. I'll tell you an interesting story. When LSU played very well against Mississippi State, and it was an 11 a.m. kickoff for that one, Brian Kelly was told by some staffers, they were just discussing, how do you get the team ready? How do you got to get up so early? At Mississippi State, I think they had to drive their bus like 45 minutes or so or longer to get to the stadium. So they had to get up so early, and you're worried about, the guy's sleepwalking, or the guy's tired. When do we send him to bed? How do we get him up? All that kind of stuff. And they decided, Brian Kelly took the advice of some young folks, and they decided to crank up the music. So normally, like when you walk into a team breakfast, especially at 11 a.m. game, I mean, that team breakfast, I have no idea what time it actually is, but it might be, 6:30 in the morning, for a team breakfast or something like that. And when you walk into a team breakfast, usually it's pretty quiet. It's there's not much talking or anything going on. And instead they had like the hip hop music that would normally be blaring in the locker room after a win. They had that cranked up, and so guys were eating breakfast, getting into it, and it worked, right? I mean, they played their best game of the year against Mississippi State on the road at 11 a.m. So I imagine that the hip hop 6 o'clock breakfast will be happening. They're gonna be supper club up in whatever hotel they're staying in over in Missouri.
Yeah, you better do whatever it takes to get that done and fire them up, wake them up. I mean, you got to pull all the cars out of the deck and try to get them ready to go for 11 a.m. And Missouri's probably licking their chops, thinking, "Hey, we got an LSU team, can't stop nobody." Arena ball, we can stop them a couple of times because LSU offense is very good, like we've discussed. So they're thinking, okay, if we can stop them a couple of times, we can win. 45-41. Or 38-34, whatever it might be. So I'm like you. I'm curious to see the game. How will it unfold? How will the LSU defense do? I mean, let Missouri people worry about Missouri, but it's going to be interesting to see. And I think LSU fans are going to keep an eye on it because it's not going to get any easier. There's a couple of non-conference games on the schedule, but the SEC games aren't getting any easier after this week.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a big game for so many reasons for LSU. Imagine a scenario, Tommy, where the Tigers lose this game, and what's the atmosphere, the attendance going to be for Auburn? You know what I mean? Like, we expected Auburn and these Florida home games to just be, the Alabama type atmospheres with tailgating all day and 103,000 and all. The bar was so high for this season. I mean, this was a national championship type conversation. This was a playoff type conversation, and all that is gone. And so now, can the LSU fans adjust to just going and cheering for their team and hoping they win? And we're heading down the barrel of a 8-4, 9-3, 7-5, somewhere up in there, type season. And will they support and come and do all that after the build up and the expectation of what this year was supposed to be? Look, this game against Missouri is gigantic. Big game for them. It's arguably one of the biggest games for them in a few years. Imagine they go 6-0 and beat LSU at home. I mean, they're now thinking, hey, that Missouri Georgia game, could be us. And so they have everything in front of them. And for LSU, this is sort of a save the season type game. And that LSU administration is pulling hard, like, not that they aren't always, but it will be. I mean, if Auburn loses this week and LSU loses this week, I mean, all of a sudden the LSU Auburn game is like wah wah wah, next Saturday in Tiger Stadium at 6 or 6:30. So gigantic game this week. NCAA news to pass along. Some news that I think that means it's heading in the right direction. I wish it would get there a little bit quicker, and that is that you and I and a lot of folks are not a fan of the transfer portal. To me, it's more disturbing than the pay for play, which is the NIL, because pay for play's always been there. It's just been on the down low, and now it's just out in front, and it's bigger money, but it was always there. Okay, Cam Newton's daddy got money from Mississippi State for a visit, got money from Florida to go there. I mean, all this stuff. So anyway, or from Auburn, for in his church. Those are the ones that are just known about, but everybody got handshakes, everybody got money, the big boys. So The thing that I would say is the NCAA passed a rule. So currently there are 60 days available over the course of 365 days. There are 60 days available to athletes to enter the NIL, to transfer portal. They are changing that rules coming up to 45 days. It was proposed back in January to change 60 to 30, but instead they decided to pass the 45 days. So what that'll mean for us, and it'll be sport by sport based on when those 45 days are. So for example, uh, football, they will most likely stay. They'll do a 30-day window in December. December, 4th or whatever it is, the day after the playoffs are announced, the selections are announced. The transfer portal will begin then for rough 30 days, and then they'll probably do 15 after the spring. And they were hoping that it might be 30. It was proposed to talk about 30, but it passed and voted on 45. So we're trimming down the number of transfer portal days. I would like for it, Tommy, to be 30. I think 15 days, in December and 15 days in May is plenty fair enough and plenty enough. But we're not there yet. And I'd love for them to be hardcore and due diligent on you get one transfer for free, but then after that, you have to sit out no matter what. And that's really at the discretion of the NCAA. The rules are on the books for that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd like to see it modified and made different for the sake of all teams, and for the sake of the coaches and the administrative people in these athletic departments. I mean, it's the Wild Wild West, it would just, there's a couple of rules out there, but it's just wild and crazy. And then it's the easiest path of resistance. Guy doesn't like the fact that he's third team on the depth chart. I'm going to go somewhere. I'm not going to work hard and try to make the second team or get on the special teams or whatever it might be. I'm just going to go somewhere else, and somebody else wants me and all that. So, it's just what the landscape of college sports is, not just football. And I don't know. I don't know if we totally know if it's really good for sports or really bad for sports or somewhere in the middle. A little bit more time may tell us
that. Yeah, I think it's good for good for everybody involved if they crack down on the NIL transfer. Currently, right now, team players can transfer one time, and grad transfers can transfer anytime. So if you've graduated from college and you've got eligibility to remain, meaning you haven't used up your 4 years and you graduated prior to that, you can be a grad transfer, and then you can go into the portal at any point in time for that. That's the rule that's in place currently and will stay that way. But it's good for the coaches as players. Right now, Tommy, it's semester to semester. Coaches can't, they can't prepare from one year to the next. Who's going to be here? Who's going to be back? Which affects the product on the field. And for the fans, you need a program, every year. There is no continuity.
Well, no, and that's going to affect, I think, the long-term thing of the fan base. Okay, example: if LSU and Auburn both lose this weekend, okay, and then you have, an LSU Auburn game in Tiger Stadium. You're looking at 65,000 people actual attendance. I know tickets are sold, but because you don't have those 20 guys who played in the greater Baton Rouge area or down in New Orleans or over in the Lafayette, Lake Charles area on the roster that the people are going to flock to see. Like you said, you got to scroll through your phone and see, well, who the heck is that number 24 guy? That's what you got to do. And I don't know that it hurt college. I think it hurt college basketball to one and done, but college basketball is all about the coaches. So the players are secondary in the marquee of college basketball. But in football, it's always been the players and a handful of coaches who are considered elite. So I'm not sure we know the total effect.
Bonjour to Mama Rance over in France at the moment. She joined us from Italy last week. Didn't bring any luck to the Ryder Cup United States folks. Now she's over in France hanging out with the celebs in Cannes. So if you see any celebs, let us know who's over there, Mom. Love you. I think it's always hard once the genie's out of the bottle to put that genie back in the bottle. And I think that's where the NCAA and college athletics is with the NIL. The NIL is never getting put back in the bottle because that's become a litigious thing, from state to state. So you're done there. But you have a chance to fix the transfer portal. That is in your purview. If you're the NCAA and college, presidents and all that, they can fix that. I don't know why they're not fixing it sooner rather than later. Let's talk NFL for a minute here, TK. What a depressing week it was for LSU fans. It's that way for Saints fans. There's been a lot of articles written in the last 24, 48 hours or so since Sunday about, is Derek Carr, the future of this organization. A lot of people are already chalking him up as a swing and a miss as the quarterback of the Saints, and they're kind of pot committed to him here for a little bit. Where are you on that? Have you made your decision like this experiment, this franchise quarterback it's not going to work, or do you think we still got time?
I got the yellow caution light on. I don't have green go. I don't have red stop. I got the caution light on. With this shoulder, how well can he throw the ball? Can he throw it downfield? Can he hit that dig route? Can he hit that out route? When you got to throw the ball 50 yards on a 12-yard pass because of the angle. But I think more of the problem is Pete Carmichael, the play calling. You got Olave and Thomas and Taysom Hill and Kamara's back now. If Derek Carr can be that piece to accent all of those guys, but you can't kick 3 field goals and win a game in the NFL. So I really think the thing I'm leaning to is there's going to have to be at least an offensive coordinator change, maybe a head coach change, or as you suggested, Ronnie, different play calling duties just to spice it up and try to provide that spark. The silver lining is you one game out of first place in the NFC South. You're 2-2. The division leaders 3-1. So you're still in the hunt. You're still in the picture despite all the questions. But I'm on the caution light with Derek Carr.
Look, the division is so it was expected to be so bad. It's probably a little bit better than we thought. But if you think for a minute that Tampa Bay Buck fans are going to hang their hat on Baker Mayfield for 17 games and be able to relax and think, oh, he's got it. We're headed to the playoffs. You got nothing coming to you. And Atlanta, of course, has an inexperienced second-year guy. So, look, even if the Saints have a bad September, October, November and December and early January still have time for them to right the ship. Look, the schedule on paper is why we like the Saints to have such a good year. That, and of course, you do have a veteran quarterback that's got skins on the wall, albeit years ago, versus the newbies. The schedule's in place because you don't play teams with good, solid veteran quarterbacks. They've got this week on the road against New England. Jones was benched and during the game, although he's going to stay the starter, according to Belichick after the game. They've got issues there offensively. Next week you're at the Texans, and then you're at home. Now you're at home against Jacksonville, one of the better teams I think in the league. But you've got a chance to get healthy here against two teams that are not expected to do anything in New England and the Texans, and you should be able to, with all the weapons you mentioned, Tommy, to script up something. I would expect the defense is going to be good again. Although no defense can live up to the pressure of having to throw a shutout. You gotta get them 21 points. If you can get to 21 points, Tommy, 21 points in the NFL. Remember back in the day with Drew Brees? The Saints were 30 points all the time. And, averaging 28, 30 points, whatever. Now we're just dying to try to get to 21 points. But if they can get the 21 points, they can average 21 points. My God, this team would be, so good.
Well, and here's the thing. Even with Derek Carr's shoulder, he's the best quarterback in the division today. Okay, now, can we change that, 8 weeks from now? I can change that thought. But right now, Mayfield's nothing. Ritter in Atlanta's nothing. Bryce Young, who's battling injuries, I don't think he's going to make it as a quarterback long-term in the NFL. So then what, they going to put Andy Dalton in Carolina? So I think from that perspective, but something's got to happen offensively, right? Can't be the 3 field goals. It's got to be 20-plus points. It's got to be 30 points, because the Saints' defense is solid. So, I mean, something's got to happen, and it needs to happen this week on the road in New England, who got their own long list of question marks.
TK, tell us about Tremonti's.
Yeah, well, of course, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Lasagna is the lunch special today. Mom's recipe. It's really, really good if you like the lasagna thing. Of course, they got po' boys and salads and everything you need. On-site catering. They can deliver to your office, your function over the weekend. They do all that as well. Tailgating party packages for a lot of high school tailgating going on. People watching LSU and the Saints on the TV. Just check them out on Jefferson Highway, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Mike's doing very well. I swapped some text messages with him yesterday. He's feeling a lot better. He's wanting to get back to work, but that's going to have to wait a little bit longer. But we're happy for that. Appreciate all the people that said prayers and all that for Mike. So that's a good thing. So we're really happy for that he's doing better. And I look forward to having him back here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Baton Rouge.
MLB news for a minute here. The lowest attendance for a playoff game since 1919. Did I see that correctly?
You did, sir. I mean, I didn't who went to the games in 1919, but less than 20 grand, 19 plus at Tampa Bay for the Rays and the Rangers yesterday. Okay, it was a 3:00 game Eastern time, but still, it's a playoff game. And the Rays have been a good team for a couple of years. It's not like there's some new story, okay? I think Kevin Cash, their manager, is a really good manager. And so, but to have that just had to be deflating, and the Rangers win 4-0. Montgomery has a great day on the bump, and they get the win. I mean, but 19,000, wow. Hey, 4 more games today, and if necessary, games would all be tomorrow. And they don't travel in the wild card now. The higher seed has the home for all 3 games if 3 are necessary. So it's going to be a lot of urgency today. You LSU baseball Tiger fans, Aaron Nola will be on the bump for the Phillies tonight. That's the 4th game of the 4. Starts a little bit after 7 o'clock Louisiana time. So Aaron Nola and the Phillies won yesterday, so he'll try to clinch the wild card series for the Phillies. And he's been up and down this year, a little bit more up. He's had some really brilliant outings in the last month. His last 4 or 5 outings are have a lot of glitter on them, and I'm sure he's at home, so the Marlins are the long shot to win it. Also, I don't know. It might be some value on Aaron Nola tonight, although he's big favorite. I like over 8 runs in the Rangers Tampa Bay game today, and then Blue Jays on the money line. Blue Jays didn't get it done in Minnesota. And there's some value on the money line for the Blue Jays to win. The Blue Jays are potent. They can't seem to get the pitching and the hitting on the same day.
Yeah, they lost 3-1 yesterday. Kevin Gausman gave up 3 runs and through 4 innings.
2 bombs of the same guy.
So 2 bombs, same guy. 2-run homer in the first. He was a little wild. He walked some people. Wasn't his day. But the bullpen did a nice job. Came in and went the rest 5 innings and didn't give up anything. So gave themselves a chance. I mean, anytime you allow 3 runs, you got a shot, but they only scored 1. As potent as they are on offense, they only scored 1, which that's why today a lot of people are expecting the overs to be a little bit more. A lot of guys burn their better guys, and everybody's locked in, maybe a little too tight that first game, whatever the case may be. The adrenaline's flowing, but now game 2, we'll see if the offense flies a little bit better. But look, Tampa did announce that they are going to have a new stadium, so that's in the works, public-private.
But that's also going to be in St. Pete. I'm told, I haven't been there, but I'm told that where the stadium is now is not a great location.
Yeah, where the stadium is now is not Tampa, it's St. Pete. It's
St. Pete. Yeah. And so the new stadium is also supposed to be St. Pete. I got a big fan of the Rays who was telling me all that yesterday. That's what's kind of fresh in my mind. But we'll see. Now also talking expansion in MLB. They're looking at Montreal and Raleigh, North Carolina, as possibly having 2 new teams to get it to 32. Then you got the even divisions and all that good stuff. and that's very much in the early stages, but we'll wait to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's always interesting when you go back to a city where baseball didn't work before, right? Montreal. Now they played in an Olympic stadium. They played in a dome type stadium. Montreal moved and became the Washington Nationals. But of all the, but if with, I guess, Blue Jays and the success that they've had and the fact that they've been a stable franchise, it would make sense to go back with another team in Canada and kind of have that rivalry and all that. And obviously Montreal would have a new stadium if they, got back into the thing. And then as far as North Carolina is concerned, Raleigh's an interesting decision that it wouldn't be Charlotte, which most people would think it would be Charlotte. But you got a lot of population on that East Coast. North Carolina is coming up and coming state, population and industry. So it would look. I think 32 makes a lot of sense. It's definitely been strange that the numbers the way they are.
Well, and ESPN's basically headquartered in Raleigh now. It's Bristol, Connecticut, where it started in the late 70s, and that's still always going to be home. But they tons of their operations and they got a much bigger campus, if you will, in North Carolina, where they train, all the announcers meet, and that's the production center, if you will. So that would be a reason to get there, because then you got ESPN in the neighborhood. So, sports fans all over the place. But I'd love to see Montreal back. I used to like their uniforms. It was just, as a kid, it was different because you had a team from, not in the United States. But we'll see how that goes.
I love the Expos hats. The red, white,
the pinwheel. Yeah.
They kind of look like clown hats almost a little bit for somebody who doesn't know baseball. But I used to have one, wore it all the time. Love the Expos. Andre Dawson, Tim Raines. I mean, those were some of my guys. All right.
One of the first Major League games I ever saw was in the old Astrodome, and it was the Expos and the Astros. And I met Ellis Valentine was a great outfielder for the Expos back then, and a big arm in right field, big guy, and Andre Dawson. And of course, Gary Carter played there for a long time.
Gary
So there's a lot of history in Montreal. Actually, Pedro Martinez pitched for the Expos for a little bit. So hopefully, I wouldn't have any problem with him going back to Montreal. They got to get to 32. That makes a lot of things easier and better in the big picture. But time will tell.
For Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Please like and share this video. Thanks for watching Sports Shorts presented by LeBears Casino. Go on by LeBears in their sports book. Watch all the games, eat all the food. They've got some fantastic grub on the menu, and it is the best place to go in Baton Rouge to go check out games with your buddies. They got the family side where you can, bring kids, and then they also have the bar side where you got to be 21 and over, and that's where the sports book part is. So go check it out. For Tommy, I'm Ronnie. Be back on Friday morning for more Sports Shorts Daily. Till then, have a great one, everybody.